Café Gabe's apple pie oatmeal squares. Okay, I know. It's been like a month, and I'm a little bit off of that wholesome wagon that I was riding with those really good veggie bell peppers in favor of, like, you know, this kind of detour to an appley autumnal avenue. But, alliteration aside, honest question, honest answer. Are fall flavors ever out of season? No. I love these flavors. Cinnamon, cardamom, allspice, apples. I mean, I know, particularly here in the South, right? We are a Houston hellscape of a summer away from anything even like tickling fall weather. But you know what? To hell with it. To hell with the forward progression of time, to hell with chronology, to hell with Gregory and his calendar, to hell with Newton and his apple bias. We're doing this. If you are ready to taste the savory sweet spices of a season seen and to be seen, this is the recipe for you. Let's give it a shot. Gosh knows this must be a Café Gabe recipe video because we're doing the oven first. Get that baby going at 400 degrees. The oven is preheating. Let's do a little bit of prep work. I have our apple, a nice medium-sized Granny Smith. And if Granny Smith were here today, she'd say, Gabe, well done. I'm going to go ahead and do two quick things to this. The odds are we won't need the entire apple. So let's start by coring it with our knife. There are apple corers you can buy that'll just pop it right out. I don't have one. Not really necessary in this case. I'm going to do my best to trace where I think the core is. So, right outside the divot. Boom, gorgeous, right on the counter. Gonna go all the way around here. Yes, we're gonna waste a little bit of the apple, but honestly, we're fine. We've got more than we need. Delicious, but garbage. We don't want it. Now, we've got some nice apple chunks. The odds are we're only going to need about half of this. So, because these two pieces are already kind of perfectly started, I'm going to take my incredibly, incredibly sharp knife that will cut me when it gets a chance and get some very nice thin slices here. As you can see, not too thick. I have no way of giving you scale for this, but bear in mind, not too thick. Huh? Just gonna go down the length of this portion of apple. Again, the odds are we won't need all of this apple. We may not even need everything that we slice, but better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That's what they told me when I went to college. And oh, the student loan debt I definitely have. We have a choice to make now. When it comes time to mixing our ingredients together, we can very easily actually add a few little apple chunks in there. Now, it can be a bit of a delicate mix. If you add too many, you are going to affect the integrity, the actual hold of your baked square. However, if you add too few, well, there's not really any danger there. So let's go less than more. And hey, if we feel like, man, we could have put some more in there, next time we do just that. So I'm going to take our smaller piece here and cut it like 3 into 3 ways down that side. And then just a few decentish sized little bits, little pieces, right? So every bite of the square may not have a piece of apple, but the flavor will be there without a doubt. This bad boy I'm going to keep there just for now. Let us continue. For our dries, I have them prearranged right here. So, in our big bowl, we have our flour mixture. That's our 3/4 a cup of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to go ahead and give it a very delicate mix. If you mix too hard, you are going to get flour everywhere. So, let's be mindful. Follow this up with our spice mix. Teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of our allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of our cardamom. Ah, yes. What's that? Are the leaves turning? A cool breeze from the coast? The third coast? My God, fall is right around the corner. Just gotta march through the heat. The 4 to 5 months of catastrophic Houston heat. I'm not bitter, you're bitter. Bitter like spice. Lastly, we have our sugar mixture. This was just an aesthetic choice I made for the display. It's just half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of white sugar. Some recipes do call for more. The original recipe I'm basing this off of actually calls for a cup of each. Man, that is sweet. Not my vibe. You don't really need to mix this. I mean, we can because why not? We're here, but it's not really necessary. Now we begin to add the heat. So we want to melt our butter on a fairly low temperature. So let's set our stove to medium low. We do not want our butter to melt. I've got a room temperature stick right here, already ready to go. Ba-ba-boom. And we're gonna very patiently let that go at a low heat until it's a nice liquidy consistency. I have our nice solid whisk we're gonna need in a moment. Gonna just give this a little, just to go ahead, get it melted down. I'm even going to turn the heat a little lower. I really want it more low than medium. We just want it to melt. I thought about just putting this butter outside on a plate and letting it melt in the heat. Have I mentioned how hot it gets in the South in the summer? I wouldn't call it anxiety per se, just sort of a foreboding, like watching the sun explode, knowing, oh, that's coming my way. Well, cargo shorts. Okay, I would say we are good there. So our next step is going to be adding our sugar mixture. I've got our sugar right here. Let's go ahead and pour that in. We do want to get it as homogeneous as possible. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Gonna give it a little more. What I'm also gonna do, because I'm naughty, is throw in our apple pieces. Again, we don't have many. Just this, but it's going to give some bites a little extra something, some bites a bit of something. But hey, let's live. That little bit of essence of apples getting in there with the sugar. Just a hint. Something between a LaCroix and a Topo Chico, whatever the hell. Got a good mix there going. A little bit of the moisture from the apples actually helps dissolve the sugar a little better. I'm now going to go ahead and add in our spices. Get those going. What a beautiful dark color. That is that cinnamon, that allspice. Oh my goodness. Okay. On to our flour. Now here we're going to go ahead and switch two things. I'm going to turn off our heat. I have a gas range, so the heat's off, but if you have electric, remove it from the heat. And we're going to switch to a spoon or a spatula. I have our trusty green boy here, and we're going to just very easily fold. Fold and mix and fold and mix and mix and fold and fold and mix. And now, full disclosure, I do things a little differently just to be crazy. I'm going to add in my egg and vanilla now. The heat is off. Our residual heat is gone. Our vanilla. Let us continue. Now I realized this is not normally the order you would do things in. You would normally add all your dries after having added all your wets. Forever ago, I'm like, whoops, I didn't do that in the right order. And you know what? It came out fine. And now it's a bit like, I'm kind of afraid to go back on this. I liked the way it came out. So I do it this way to this day. I'm almost positive you did it traditionally by adding your liquids together and then your dries, you'd be also fine. Last but not least, our oats. Got a cup there. Throw that in, but guys, we are almost done. Okay, getting that going, getting that going. All right, guys, we now have a great consistency that we want of our apple pie oatmeal squares. Let's prepare our parchment paper lined baking sheet and keep going. I've got our apple pie here. Let's go ahead and just get that lifted off and ready to just roll onto our parchment paper. Okay, we're gonna just try to flatten it down. Now, some recipes like this will call for making something of like a circle to make it more of a pie shape, which I understand, or a pizza even, like a big pizza cookie. Cookie pizza? But I will do my best here, but honestly, the reason I like this cookie sheet that I use here is because it's a little small, right? Something like this, as it cooks, it will spread. And as it spreads, you get sort of an uneven cooking. The edges are really well done and the middle's really, really soft, which is fine. However, I prefer a little more homogeneity in my baked goods. So I'm gonna do my best to sort of flatten it out as close to the edges as I can. It's gonna spread some, it's not gonna be perfectly even, and that's okay. I would say that's pretty good. Even-ish, as best as you all can tell, as best as I can show you. Now, a little artistry. We have our apple slices. We're going to just start laying them down. A little circle. Clearly, my geometry skills are lacking. It's been many years. So, not the prettiest, evenest display, but cut a guy a break. All right. Got our apple pie oatmeal square. Square? Rhombus? That's a good question. Our treat is ready to bake. I'm gonna throw this in the oven for about 20 minutes. You're really gonna be going more by sight than anything else as to whether or not it seems done. You can give it a little very carefully, touch with the finger to see how firm it's going. A toothpick test won't really work as well in this case. But oven is ready, this is ready, I am ready. Let's go. So now that we have that bad boy out of the oven, I'm gonna oh my God, so very carefully with my delicate hands, grab the ends of my parchment paper, hold it taut so we don't fold in too much on our cookie, and transfer it to this wire rack. Boom. Done, all my fingers intact. I'm gonna let this pretty much come to room temperature. So I've gone ahead and let this rest for about 15 minutes. We're gonna go ahead now and just cut it into our squares. I transferred it to a cutting board. We want maybe, you know, an inch, inch and a half pieces. Oh yes. I have a very sharp knife here that easily cuts through these apples. Deliberate, sharp cuts down the line. No more playing games. We are here for the season that we all know and love. And so I will say these came out a little well done. So if you did 400 degrees for maybe 18 minutes instead of 20, you get a little bit lighter color. But if you prefer that crunchiness, then I would definitely say stick with the 20-minute time frame. All right, everybody, taste test. I have a nice thick end piece here. I'm very excited to give it a shot. Took this bit of apple, so here we go. Yes. You know, particularly because it's an end piece, it's so nice to see that it's so thick. By not letting it spread out, we have a wonderful, wonderful, cakey, mealy texture. And so every bite is significant. Every bite you feel the coarse texture of the oats and the butter and the sugar. Oh, but Did I mention the spice? You know what? I feel like I am walking an apple orchard. A nice apple brandy in hand. Guys, a winner. I'm gonna have to give these away. I will eat all of these. Oh, geez Louise. All right, guys, that's it. Apple pie oatmeal squares a la Café Gabe. Hey, really, start to finish, this one took 10 minutes to prep, 20 minutes to bake. Again, these came out a little well done, so you could easily do them in 18 minutes or so, really depending on how crisp you like it. But, I mean, we've traveled in time. It is fall, it is autumn, pumpkin spice everywhere. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hey, subscribe to the channel. I've got new recipes coming out every so often. If you tried the recipe and liked it, like the video. And if you have any questions for me, comments, concerns, maybe wondering how I did something, maybe wondering, well, tell me, what's your favorite season? Do you like the citrusiness of the summer or the fruity berryness of the spring? Hey, let me know. I would love to hear it. Guys, as always, thank you so much for coming to Café Gabe. Be well, stay safe. Adios. I'm just gonna, grab just like one more. No, I mean, not a big deal, really. No, it's a bad thing. All right, got our apple pie cookie oatmeal thingamajig. Fuck.